Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week we've got the FX Impact Mk2 on test, and we're joining Andy Watkins on a pest control session. I must stress that Andy's shoot was filmed before Natural England's decision to revoke key general licences used for the control of pest birds. And I would urge shooters to keep a close eye on the BASC website in order to keep up with developments on this situation going forwards. It's imperative that we keep our shooting on the right side of the law in order to protect the future of our sport.
It's another gorgeous day, so I've decided to come out into the woods for another session. The gun I'm using today is going to be the Walther Rotex RM8. Silencer at the front, got a PAO 6 to 20 by 50 scope. This is the first focal plane version. Illuminated reticle, not that I'll be needing that today. Sports match mounts, and yeah, that's about it. Now this time last year I had an amazing day here, and all I did was walk around and shoot whatever came out in front of me. This time of year mainly it's squirrels and pigeons. The pigeons are feeding on the buds on the trees, and the squirrels likewise. There's also a lot of young squirrels around, so they can sometimes be a little bit thicker than the older squirrels, so they're a lot easier to shoot. The reason we're shooting the squirrels today is the gamekeepers left a lot of the pheasants from last season to breed, and the squirrels will come along, raid the nests and eat the eggs, and obviously we don't want that. This is a shooting estate, so we want as many pheasants as possible. Just chuck this face veil on. Managed to sew some leaves to it to help break up my outline. Well, that certainly didn't take long. Well, there we have him then. A nice quick first kill there. Hit him just in the neck, so instant kill, snapped the spine. Right, let's head on to the woods.
Positioned between a rape field that's getting hammered by pigeons and a walled garden where the birds have acquired a taste for the vegetables, this copse is the ideal place to pick off crop raiding woodies. It's not long before Andy's stalk around the woods throws up the opportunity to put his second bird of the day in the bag.
Well, that was another nice shot. The pigeon was facing away from me, so I used my knowledge of a pigeon's anatomy. I knew where the heart was, straight through the back, and you saw it was just lights out instantly.
The roving session is going well, and Andy is soon in with another chance, though this time it's not a pigeon.
That's 3 in the bag. Doing well today. We've only been at it 10 minutes. Phew. He's just dropped at the base of that tree there. I can see him. The other one cleared off when that pellet struck. Well, here he is then. Very humanely shot, but not so sure about this. Looks like he's got some sort of an STI or something, I don't know. Never seen that before.
Bearing in mind that there were 2 squirrels in the tree when Andy took his shot, I think that unfortunate bushy-tail had made himself sore with some overzealous romancing.
Pigeon just flew over. I thought he was going to land, but he didn't. Then I glanced back over that end of the wood just towards the edge, and there was a squirrel there. Well, there still is. Hasn't seen me. I'm going to use the vegetation as cover, see if I can get in a little bit closer. The range that it's at the minute is fine, but there's too many obstructions in the way, too many twigs. So I'm going to try and find a clear path for my pellet.
Andy has been forced to make a stalk to get within range. He's managed to do it, and he's rewarded with another shot.
Wow, this day's getting better and better. That's another one on the ground. A fairly flat shot. Just aimed half a mil dot above it. It was at 38 yards and hit him with a headshot. He hung on for a little bit and then just dropped to the floor. So a typical sign of a headshot there, the nerves just spasming as he grips onto the tree. Well, I'm happy with what's been shot out of this wood, so I'm going to head over now to a different one. There hasn't been anything for a little while, so it's pointless me staying here when there's other places I can be. The patch of woodland in front of me often has quite a lot of squirrels and maybe some pigeons in it, so that's where I'm going to head next.
It's a glorious day to be out and about in the countryside. Hopefully Andy's quarry will be thinking the same thing. After trekking across to another promising spot, it's not long before Andy is back in action with the squirrels.
Another nice headshot there. The numbers are racking up on the squirrels. Coming through the wood, I didn't really see that many, so I don't think I'm going to bother stopping there too long. I'll just pick that one up and then head off to the next one.
There's a squirrel right above Andy, but he's forced to creep across to the other side of the tree in order to get a clear shot through the branches.
That's the great thing about having the multi-shot. If you either you fluff up the first shot or something happens, you've got that second shot, and thankfully I managed to get another one in that squirrel.
After spotting some jackdaws during his trek through the woods, Andy decides to dig in and wait in ambush for a while.
Got myself tucked up under here now. The reason I chose this spot is because the greens nicely match what I'm wearing, so hopefully I'll be able to blend in a little bit better. Jackdaws have extremely sharp eyesight, so this is going to be a tough one if I'm going to make this work.
Jackdaws may well be sharp-sighted, but Andy's patient approach eventually puts one in the crosshairs.
Jackdaws are pretty tough to hunt, and that one just sat there. I thought as I was raising my rifle it was going to fly, but thankfully it sat tight. Well, I'm going to call it a day at that. We've got 7 squirrels, a couple of pigeons, the cat's had the one, and a jackdaw, so a phenomenal day's shooting. Thanks for watching.
A nice mixed bag for Andy there. And now, it's the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. It's become a lot harder for airgunners in England to legally shoot pigeons, magpies and doves after the general licences were unexpectedly revoked last week. The general licences have existed for around 30 years and allow the lethal control of pest bird species without having to apply for a specific licence first. But after a legal challenge, the new head of Natural England decided that the licences were illegal, so it took them away, giving just 2 days' notice of the change. Natural England said it had no choice but to do so, and promised to roll out newer and more robust general licences. But 1 week later, it's only managed to publish one new licence for taking carrion crows, and Basque says this one isn't fit for purpose. In the meantime, if you want to shoot pigeons, doves or magpies, even for crop protection or public health reasons, you're advised to apply for an individual licence first. You need to download a form from the Natural England website, select the right bird species and reason for controlling them, then email or post the form off and wait for a response. In other words, it's a setup that's no use to anyone at one of the most crucial times of year. Shooting organisations have written to the Environment Secretary and told him the situation is unworkable. More updates as we get them. In other news, the text of the Offensive Weapons Bill has finally been agreed after several rounds of political tennis in the Houses of Commons and Lords. In its final form, some of the worst legal restrictions threatened by the bill have been removed. There are some new restrictions on knives, but they've ended up in a middle ground where they won't have a huge effect on countrymen going about their work. The bill should now become law in the coming weeks. And we'll see you at the Northern Shooting Show, now just 9 days away. Returning to the Yorkshire Event Centre for the 4th time, the show's got plenty on for airgunners, from ranges to special offers to new launches from the likes of BSA, MTC, Brocock, Daystate, Hawk and Air Arms. We'll be there too, roaming the aisles for news or hanging out at the Airgun shooter stand. Don't forget, under 16s get free entry when accompanied by a paying adult. That was the Airgun Show news.
Bullpup airguns are enjoying a huge resurgence in popularity at present, and Swedish airgun maker FX has a reputation for making some of the best. This week's review gun is an updated version of one of their classics. It's the FX Impact Mk2, which has a recommended retail price of around £1,690. The Mk2 looks a lot like the original Impact and is still very tactically styled. It weighs 3 kilos without a scope fitted and measures either 75 or 83 centimetres depending on whether you have the silencer extended. It's well balanced and comes to the shoulder really nicely. The stock looks very minimalistic, but it functions extremely well. The large carbon bottle serves as the fore end, and I really like the soft rubber pistol grip which literally sticks to your hand. Its contoured drop-down design results in exceptionally good trigger attack. The cheek piece is comparatively comfortable for a bullpup, and the butt pad features a very clever height adjustment mechanism. Simply slacken off the locking knob and it slides up and down, enabling you to tweak alignment between your eye and the scope. The butt section even features finger grooves which assist with carrying the gun. There are 3 useful Picatinny type accessory rails, one on each side and one on the underside for bipod attachment. The scope mounting rail is also of the Picatinny variety and it's nice and long. As bullpups go, it's also not too high above the barrel, so this gun doesn't feel too slab-sided. Engineering and finish are of a very high standard, which is typical of FX. One feature that I really like is the extending barrel shroud. Shoot with it pushed in and the gun is super compact, or you can extend it out for increased sound suppression. I actually didn't think that the increase of around 8 centimetres would make much of a difference, but it does, and this is a very effective suppressor. This version of the Impact comes with a high capacity side shot magazine which holds 28 pellets in .22 calibre. Loading it is simple. Turn the locking dial so you can remove the clear faceplate, pull that off, and then turn the inner magazine all the way around. Pop in the first pellet to hold the spring tension, and then remaining pellets simply drop in nose first. When it's full, snap the clear faceplate back on, fix it in place by turning the locking dial, and it's ready to go back in the gun. Once in position, the magazine is driven by a slick side lever action, which takes care of cocking, indexing, and pellet probing. It's very smooth and very fast, which is brilliant for hunting and great fun on the plinking range, and it hasn't missed a beat during testing. Mechanical triggers on bullpups aren't always great, but this one is brilliant. In fact, I wouldn't be able to tell it was a bullpup in a blind test. The blade design's fantastic and the 2-stage unit is adjustable, although I wasn't tempted to fiddle with this one because it was great straight from the box. The first stage is pretty short, but the stop is very clear and the second stage breaks incredibly crisply with absolutely no creep. There's a switch type safety catch neatly positioned just above the trigger. It's easy to access and very simple to flick on and off. It does have a slight click to it, but I don't think it will be loud enough to cause hunters problems when targeting very wary quarry. Filling is via a quick fill inlet on the underside of the stock. Maximum air pressure is a hefty 250 bar, though I must admit that I didn't take it that high because I didn't have that much air in my bottle. Shot capacity is still enormous though, and you can expect well over 200 from a 220 bar fill. Keeping an eye on levels is easy, thanks to the Mk2's new gauges. The one on the side is overall air supply, and the one on the underside of the butt section is regulator pressure. The regulator now features a larger reservoir and delivers great shot-to-shot consistency. Variation on this particular gun is just 2 or 3 feet per second over a 10-shot string. This sub 12 foot-pound model is 2.2 caliber and it's churning out about 11.3 foot-pounds on full power setting. However, this gun is available in much bigger calibers and can churn out power levels in excess of 75 foot-pounds. Even this model features a power adjustment dial with lots of different settings, though I can imagine it'll be a lot more useful on the high power models. So, that's a quick overview of what the FX Airguns Impact Mk2 has to offer. Let me put out a target and I'll show you what it shoots like. Well, what can I say about that? You can probably see and hear that we're contending with quite a breeze today. Fortunately, I was shooting more or less straight into the wind then, but I'm sure it still didn't help. Nonetheless, 30 meters, that 5-shot group must fall, well, very close to 10 millimeters from center to center. Now, in the past, a lot of critics have questioned whether the FX smooth twist barrel does work at its best in sub 12 foot-pound airguns, but judging by what I've seen today, I think it works very, very well. And incidentally, on this gun, it is very quick and easy to change barrels and switch calibers. I'm not usually the biggest fan of bullpup airguns, but I'm fast becoming a real fan of this one. It's not cheap, but it is a fantastic piece of kit, and it even comes with a very neat hard case. The gun feels really robustly built, but it's also very refined to shoot. Its compact proportions are certainly going to be handy in some hunting situations, as will its very quiet operation. I really can't wait to get it out in the field.
Look out for the new and improved Airgun Shooter magazine, packed full of technique, gear and insight from some of the best shooters in the industry. Brand new look and free video content. Pick up your copy today in stores or online.
That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you aren't already a member of the BASC, have a look at their website and check out the benefits you could be taking advantage of through Airgun membership.